In this demonstration, we'll take a look at a 2D drawing view-based workflow similar to an ideas technique. The new Project to View command allows you to project drafting objects from one view to another, while taking into account the appropriate orientation of those objects. As you can see, we begin by selecting the circle at the top of the part, then selecting which views to project it to, in this case all of them, then giving it a depth. Curves can be projected onto either one or two planes, automatically providing silhouette lines and connecting the edges. Notice that the views can be selected by name from the list or by selecting directly on the drawing. As we continue to select the rest of the geometry to be projected, see that we can control which lines are solid and which are hidden. Also, the Preview feature allows you to view the result before accepting it so that you can make sure the geometry is correct. NX Drafting and NX DraftingPlus tools not only share the same environment, but also use common tools for both 3D-based drawing views as well as 2D-based drawing views. This reduces the learning curve and increases productivity for all NX Drafting users. After we are finished projecting our data from the front view, we can now change our active view and begin sketching in the top view. After sketching two circles to represent holes, they can then be projected to the other three views as we showed before. This time, rather than keying in a value for the two planes, we can select existing geometry in another view to represent the upper and lower limits of the holes. In this demonstration, we showed how easy it is to create multiple views from a single sketched view by projecting the geometry. Because the views understand orientation, it's also easy to create the isometric view. This is another way in which NX DraftingPlus is optimized for 2D design. This demonstration will show how intuitive it is to create associative 2D geometry from scratch using NX DraftingPlus. We begin by sketching a simple square profile. This profile will form the basis of the front view of our part. Note that we are creating infinite lines while sketching. As you will see, these will be used to create more geometry a bit later. We add more detail to our sketch by adding a horizontal line, then a slot. And finally, some chamfers. As you can see, creating chamfers is as easy as sketching a rough line and specifying the angle. After the chamfers are created, an additional infinite line is created which links the bottom corners of the chamfers together. At this point, we use the infinite lines we already created to create another profile which will define the side view of our part. Once that's finished, we create the lines to represent the top and bottom edges of the slot and the bottom edge of the chamfer. After that, we convert the slot edges to reference lines to reflect the fact that they are hidden in this view. As we zoom out and take a look at both views, notice how we can select one of the infinite lines and move it, and the geometry in both views updates. This demonstrates the intelligence that is built into this drawing technique. This applies to both the lower horizontal surface and the size and position of the slot. We can add even more intelligence to the drawing by adding a radius dimension to the slot. This locks in the size of the slot so that when you move the lines, the radius doesn't change, but the whole slot moves. Finally, you can clean up your drawing by turning off the display of the infinite lines. However, even when they are not displayed, the geometry in the two views is still tied together, and changing one will change the other. Using infinite lines, NX DraftingPlus enables you to quickly and easily create 2D sketches with full associativity and intelligence. One of the most innovative features of NX DraftingPlus is Copy to 3D, which allows you to create 3D curves from 2D views. You can select either views or curves to copy to the 3D environment. Once you select the views to be copied, you can specify the destination part. Once the view plane is specified, the curves are copied to the 3D environment. As you can see, they come over in the correct positions relative to each other. At this point, you can use the curves to begin creating solid geometry. It's easy to extrude the shapes you need and snap them to the proper endpoints on the 3D sketches. And you can also use other tools such as Revolve if you want. By using this method to create your 3D geometry, you can immediately make use of legacy 2D drawings. Once you have 3D solids, they can be used for mass property analysis, CAE, rapid prototyping, or any other use. The solid features are created using the typical NX method with all the standard options for Boolean type, specifying depth, and other aspects of the feature. So there's no need to learn a different interface. Once you have finished creating your geometry, it's easy to hide the curves and see your completed model. As you can see, using Copy to 3D is the easiest and fastest way to create 3D geometry from 2D data. NX has excellent multi-CAD capabilities, and NX DraftingPlus builds on them. Taking a look at the Import menu, you can see that there are many options for data import, such as AutoCAD DWG, neutral formats like IGES, and Ideas. In this demonstration, we will take a look at importing an Ideas drawing. With these data import options, you can continue to make use of your legacy 2D data and all the work and intellectual property that it represents. Once the Ideas drawing comes up, you can see that all of the views, dimensions, and notes are present, and come in on layers which can be turned off and on. Taking a closer look at the dimensions, it's possible to modify them as if they were native NX dimensions, in this case making a tolerance and display change. The dimensions can also be moved and their extension lines will update correctly. By double-clicking on the cross-hatching in a section view, the distance and angle of the cross-section can be changed as well. Finally, the background color is easily changed to the more familiar NX white. This legacy drawing can be modified and used for years to come using NX DraftingPlus.